Live again.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start off by showing you something, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it. So this is going to start midstream. I'm going to kick straight into the conversation today because the information that I'm going to be sharing today, we've talked about this quite a bit. We've talked about misinformation. We've talked about counterfeit coins, counterfeit bills, some of the things that are happening from the China actors, some of the information that's coming across. We talk about misinformation, but I want to take a concept. I want to take something that is done. This channel that you're watching right now, that it's going to be playing for just a moment, is called The China Show. It's in the description below. And I watched a stream from them yesterday that was extremely important. And for those of you who aren't aware, this is going to be regarding things like AI, misinformation, deception, and how to destabilize a government utilizing these tactics and these tools. This is exactly what's happening. I've been talking about this for quite some time regarding that the counterfeiting of coins is a method to destabilize things, but I want to utilize the Hollywood flyers, quote unquote, Hollywood, to help people understand some of the stuff that's going on. So actually, you know what? I have to do something before I do this. I have to make sure that the audio, I'm going to play a snippet of it. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio. Okay, thanks.
So this is where it gets real sinister.
Yes.
What I've noticed is that beyond those ones that I read to you, where it's like clearly fake stuff, they'll get something much more realistic.
Can you guys hear that audio?
And they'll get somebody to read about it. Okay,
Very
read
quiet.
about like what's happening in the news, and it's gone from like this is rumored to be the case to this is fact, right?
Yeah.
And so what Chinese accounts are doing is I noticed that the propaganda push must be this specific narrative. Chinese people that have houses in America have lost everything. Okay, they lost their houses, and they'll name drop people, but they'll blank out the name in the subtitle.
Right.
Because I don't know why. I guess they don't want to get hit with whatever. Anyway, they do this and they say they've lost everything. They've lost everything and they can't get anything back. So this is what happens to people that earn their money in China, take advantage of China, and then spend it abroad. This is the message I keep seeing
They're trying
over
to
and over and over
scare
again.
people away from investing in
America.
Yeah.
So it's so ironic that China's dying for American investment, trying to do all these things to attract it, but they're demonizing anyone that would dare to have a life in America.
Exactly.
Right? This is an effort to scare Chinese people to not go to America or spend money in America.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there really quick and just kind of give you guys just a general premise of what's happening. Darren Ottman says he watches these guys all the time. This is really good. One of the things, so again, we're going to curtail this in about 30 minutes. We're going to curtail this. Yeah, so you hear Paula talking in the background. I know. It's okay. No big deal. We're going to curtail this to how this affects the coin collecting hobby and how this affects people who are collecting money and things like that. I have to let people know that, again, when we look at this information is coming from the China Show. This is, again, if you haven't seen this, their link is in the description below. And I'm sharing this because there's a lot of information. If you guys know Sun Tzu, he wrote The Art of War, a Chinese general from way, way long ago, who talks about the misinformation and how to use deception. Anybody who doesn't believe that the counterfeiting of coins and the manipulation of markets isn't a way to destabilize a nation, it really needs to begin to understand some of the importance that is what we do and why we have these channels, why we want to make sure giving out good information is important, why we constantly tell you guys to look at these things that are coming up that are AI generated. We'll talk about some of these items. In this particular thing that he's showing right now, the gentleman that's here is an AI generated bot. He's not an actual real person. We'll talk about another one here in a second. I'll show you another example of an AI generated item that is used for misinformation. Now, they're specifically talking about the Hollywood flyers. Now, for those of you who have seen the misinformation, the disinformation that's come up, the Hollywood fires that they're talking about they're not actually happening. Hollywood itself is not on fire. Yes, they talked about the Palisade fires. They talked about a fire that was on the other side of the mountain from Hollywood. They've talked about some other things like that. But the actors here are really trying to get people to believe that, the U.S. is just in disarray. And so I want you to watch this. I'm going to go again. I'm going to press mute. Paul and Eric, you guys have live audio. So if you talk, you're going to be talking through. They're going to be able to hear you because I can't mute you because I'll mute the audio. So just be aware of that. But I want you to listen to some of the stuff that's being done. Now, these gentlemen, again, they do this all the time. Go watch their stuff. They have a really cool channel. But I want you guys to hear some of the information. I'm going to be stopping and talking about a couple things during this little segment because what I want you guys to really understand is that information is power. Disinformation is a way to not only, it's again, propaganda. It's not only a way to help people understand what is going on in a certain area, because again, if they take what's happening in a place and then make it worse somewhere else, it'll kind of give you an insight to what's happening in that area. Hey, Stan, when I stop sharing my screen, I want you to look at my camera and see what's here. Your items are on display, by the way. Stan sent me a really cool gift package. So thanks, Stan. I appreciate you, brother. But again, so I'm going to play this for just a second. I'm going to go on mute, but just again, Paula and Eric, you guys have live mics. So if you guys talk, you're going to be talking through this video, just FYI.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
So yeah, this is an important one that you translated here. Everybody, we're going to play it nonstop. You can read the subtitles. Here it goes. We'll just...
By the way, this guy is AI.
He's AI.
And his voice is AI.
Yeah, exactly. Just so you know. Okay, let's see. Breaking news.
Hollywood Mountain is on fire. Jackie Chan's mansion is gone. Feng Xiaogan's mansion is gone. Jet Li's mansion is gone. By the way, none of those things happened.
None of it's true. No. Jackie Chan's mansion wasn't burned down.
No.
Apparently some mansions he bought for his family were destroyed by termites.
In 2013.
In 2013.
It's just that's a good fact check.
Just because he left them standing for years and termites ate them. That's a stupid waste of mansions, I'll tell you that much.
But do you see how crazy this is to make a statement like that?
By the way, Jet Li,
he's
Singaporean.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
But why are they claiming, they like to claim that he's Chinese.
Well, they do that with Bruce Lee as well.
Yeah, he's American.
Yeah, whenever you...
and Jackie Chan's Hong Kong.
if you go to China and you tell people like Bruce Lee is American, they've never heard of that theory before.
No, they think Bruce Lee is Chinese. Yeah, Bruce Lee's American.
Anyway.
Jet Li. No, Senator, I'm Singaporean. Is what I want to say.
Exactly. Anyway.
But yeah, so he's going on about like, all these famous Chinese people, their mansions all burnt down. And let's see what else he has to say, this dumbass.
But none of them got compensated because of the USA's law. The fire department is not responsible for damages.
I want to stop and take a minute because this made me laugh quite considerable. We have firefighters in here, don't we? Could you imagine what would happen if you guys were responsible for all the fires that occurred? I just thought this was really funny. I'm going to kind of go through this, but again, the important thing to understand here is what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it look like the United States is just crumbling. Hollywood is, they do the videos, they try to get people the grandeur of Hollywood, right? This is a lot of people who've seen a lot of movies and seen a lot of stuff, and they think that Hollywood is how the USA actually works. And so the depiction of Hollywood in this particular case is actually the representation of the United States, so where we're at. So again, when you watch this, I want you to understand something regarding the power of the information in regard to pop culture. Because again, some of the U.S. pop culture now, it's very stringent in China. They don't allow a lot of things to show up in China. So it's important for people to understand the cultural connotation of some of the stuff that's happened here. If the Hollywood fell, wouldn't the U.S. be stronger? Probably. But again, I'm going to go back on mute. I want to play a couple of this. I am going to stop in a couple of places. But again, I want to make sure that people kind of understand some of the connotation in this. So give me just a sec.
I'm sorry, but can you tell me a country where hypothetically something happens with fire damage and the fire department is liable for the damage?
So this fireman comes, he's like spraying down your house, but he doesn't manage, and you're like, okay, pay up. He like pulls money out of his pocket.
Dang it! He goes, oh, not again. He looks like Raging Roger.
Yeah, he does. So dumb.
That's like such a ridiculous idea.
Let's see.
法律是冷酷无情的，让他们万万没想到的是，年初美帝国通过银行破产没有收割到的明星富豪们，最后却被一场山火给烧没了。他们
burned up in the fire. So they said the economy collapsed. So all the banks defaulted.
Yeah.
They went bankrupt, and nobody got their money back. It's quite literally what's happening in China right now, not in America.
Yeah.
You know, the people
insane.
not getting their loans paid. And this is directed at those victims. Yeah. This is directed at the people that have heard about that happening in China.
To make them feel not bad.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's worse in America. Even the celebrities lost all their money in the banks. And even though they weren't burned by that, figuratively, weren't burned by that because the bank, because they kept their money safe from those banks that went bankrupt. Now it all got burned up in their mansions. So they lost everything anyway.
Man, it's like it's just that stupid way of trying to make people feel better about their situation by trying to pretend something else is worse.
Russia and China do this very often.
Yeah.
Very often.
But I want to pause it again here. It's really important to understand that this concept isn't just regarding the Hollywood fires, right? We see this in numismatics all the time. We see this in coin collecting all the time. So I'm going to stop the video for just a few minutes and I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to leave this here, but I'm going to shift this. Oops. I'm going to shift this just a little bit and bring us back up and keep that up in the corner. So I'm going to, again, Paul and Eric, more conversation here. How can the misinformation from China, how can this information be utilized against us in coin collecting? The entirety of the utilization of AI is not bad. The problem with AI is that AI can be utilized to disrupt what is good knowledge. They can take just a little bit of information without really doing any research, and they can push information out there. How many people know, and Paula, you guys can answer this, Eric, you guys can answer this. How many people know true or false, okay, and just T or F, true, false, whatever. This isn't for trivia or anything, but has the U.S. ever sent any kind of printing presses, anything like that to China? Has that ever occurred in the past?
Printing presses or like coin
presses, printing presses, anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Not that I'm aware of. Mm-mm. Nope.
Kane says true. Oops, sorry. Barbara says true. The fact that EMR says, I bet we have. Yeah, we actually have. So the U.S. did send China years ago some of the hydraulic presses utilized to mint coinage. China had stated that they had deleted those, got rid of those. They had actually scrapped those and used them for scrap metal after they were done.
Where can you tell me, can you put a link where you're getting this information from?
Yeah, no problem. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm not pulling this stuff up, but I will share it with you. Absolutely.
I have a really hard time believing that because we don't even get we get our presses from other places. So
yeah, no, the U.S. has done this with other places as well. The U.S. has sent mints to other locations to help
they sent it to Iran.
Yeah, we've done this a number of times. This is nothing new. This is something that's happened a few different times. Now, we have also minted coins in the U.S. for other countries, but we've also sent old printing presses. And
I don't think we do anymore.
Say again?
We did.
I don't think the United States.
No, we haven't done it for a large number of years, but we have done it in the past.
Yeah.
So, but here's the whole premise behind that. You can't tell me that a lot of these counterfeit coins that are coming out are not state sponsored. Especially the ones, and there was an article by Jack Young that was done. It's been done quite a while ago regarding some of the, and I think it was originally done, but he's going to revisit this. It was on his Facebook. The original article was done in 2017, and he's going to be pushing out a new one regarding the China deception, the ones that are actually made, the deceptive counterfeits, the ones that are actually designed to fool people. They're not the fake ASEs that they look like they're cartoony. These are highly deceptive struck counterfeits that are coming from China. And again, if you go to Fun with Fakes, Jack Young dropped information on a rebuild of an article that he's going to be having for, and I can't remember the name of the place that he's going to be doing it with. But again, the importance here is that, we're talking about the Hollywood fires. We're talking about information. But even within China itself, they're having problems with fakes. There was a comment, they'll show a comment throughout this, and you can watch more about it. I'm going to go to another AI-generated bit that was here.
I found the article, by the way.
Say again?
I found the article.
The one that Jack dropped?
This is, I don't know who wrote this one. Numismatic News, but it does talk about the U.S. Mint sending coin.
Yeah, and again, this is nothing new. We've done this. They've done this a number of times over the years. Now, granted, it's been a long time ago. We don't do this now. So this has been a long time ago. But again, they have technologies to do this. They understand the general makeup of how to mint coins. They mint their own coins. If you guys are in the silver collecting, stacking realm, you know that a number of years ago, China tried to pull one over on the silver stacker, and that is to take it from 31.3 grams to 31.5 grams down to 30 grams. Still tried to sell them as 1 ounce of silver, but they were taking 1.3 grams off every coin, but still charging it the full 1 ounce price. These are all state-sponsored items to, again, to deceive and to fool people that would be unknowing. So the reason that I'm sharing this is the advent of AI is going to further the misinformation. And I want to be very, very careful with talking about disinformation, misinformation. Folks, we need to think critically. Like, if you hear something, you need to, again, Paula mentioned this the other day when we were talking about some of the, Google, and you go in and the first thing that pops up is that AI generated. Tons and tons of times it's gone. Or it's wrong. Excuse me, not gone. It's wrong. They'll talk about information. I did when I was doing my thing for McKinley and the McKinley gold dollar, pulling up the information. I was trying to pull up an article, and because I couldn't remember who published it. I couldn't remember if it was NGC, PCGS, Numismatic News, and I pulled it up, and it was talking about the 1920 McKinley dollar, which kind of caught me by surprise because I thought it was 1916, 1917. So I had to go back and look at it all over again to find out that that the AI had the dates wrong. The information wasn't there. So again, be careful when you're hearing information and you're seeing this. Now, the one that I'm about to show you now was they called it two-prong, and I'll let you play this and listen to the whole conversation. This is another AI generated thing, but the intent of this one is to make the U.S. once again, to make the U.S. look like people are fed up with the crap that's going on, and that China is this safe haven, this safe place. The whole advent, the whole disruption of TikTok, again, the TikTok action, that the U.S. shut them down. The U.S. did actually shut them down. The company itself arbitrarily shut this down and then sent out misinformation regarding the fact that even though it's been shut down, we will be back, we will be stronger. Did that in an act of defiance. So again, utilization of information, utilization of tactics that are meant to deceive and to cause dissension. I want you all to be aware that we're fighting this, not just in the U.S., but within our hobby. A lot of the stuff that you look at, a lot of the information that you see with posts, again, you'll see posts, very blurry images, AI-generated content, AI-generated description on eBay. You guys have talked about that before on Livecoin QA about looking at some of the posts, and you can tell that they're AI-generated scripts of descriptions. They all say the exact same thing. How careful they are. And I've got a bunch of different articles you could see across the top of my screen. When I come here, I've got a bunch of different articles that I'm going to be bringing up talking about the deception, the counterfeit tariffs, or the counterfeit goods tariffs that are going to be enacted against China, why we're enacting certain tariffs against China. All these things are extremely important in protecting the sanctity of the U.S., but it also really is extremely important for our hobby to understand that this isn't just a money grab. Granted, there is money that's associated with it, but this is way bigger than that. This is actually a method by which to destabilize our economy. Again, you can pump out fake money, and we'll talk about the amount of money. It's unreal, in the hundreds of millions of dollars that they collected in 2023 and 2024. All coming from state-sponsored counterfeit operations in China. So again, very, very important to make sure that people understand that this is not just a pure money grab. This is meant to destabilize. We are actually in a non-armed conflict with state-sponsored countries. So I want you to kind of be aware of this. Paula, Eric, you guys want to say anything before I start this piece up?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fire this up. And I'm going to make this big again. All right, here we go.
On all the videos as well. But it's very important for you to understand what you're about to see is not real. It is from the Chinese government, most likely. It's definitely from China, as a malicious anti-U.S. campaign.
Yeah, so we're going to start out with this ridiculous thing over here. And this, unfortunately, has fooled a lot of people. Believe it or not.
Yeah, this is...
The fire's burning high, stocks falling in the west. Lost my home last Friday, but hey, life's still a quest. Found myself a little at where kindness lights the way. Shaongshu's a village where strangers laugh and play. We're swapping cats and stories through sunshine and rain. Not about where it's made, but the bridges that we weave. Shaongshu, we're human, and that's what I believe.
Can you pause it on him quick?
I've got to pause it on him. And there's a couple of things we have to talk about.
All right, I can't help but laugh at that. I'm going to go ahead and bring us back up. You can't hear the video?
No.
Nope, not at all.
Can you guys hear the video? It may just be because of where you guys are located. It should be coming through.
It's not coming through on StreamYard.
Oh, I'm not on StreamYard. Yeah, they can hear the video. Okay, it's just not coming through on... I'm not sure why it's not generating through. It should on that other end. Yeah, they could all hear it. It's just not coming through Restream. So you guys aren't hearing it on your end. So basically what was done is this was a AI generated thing to tell people that people in the West are fed up with the country that's on fire, to complain about the fact that our economy is falling, it's collapsing, the nation's in disarray, and that there's this app where you can connect with people who understand what kindness and generosity is. And it's Xiangsu, which is this app that was created. It's another Chinese-based app, state-sponsored, a lot of AI-generated script, highly, highly, highly governed to the point to where if you post that you're making over 6 figures a year, they don't allow it to go through. They're very, very particular. It's meant to point people who are low income, frustrated with middle income China to kind of show them that, hey, they're all Chinese are doing way better than the U.S. is doing. And on the flip side of this particular app, it's meant to show the moderate, middle class, low, poor areas of China that U.S. is even worse than they are. So the entire premise of this particular, Hugh Smith, that's again, there is a lot of fake stuff out there. I mean, we have, now this all can be, folks, again, all this stuff, if you watch this in a full screen, you can see that his mouth is all AI generated. It's one of these still photos that they've used the app to make things sing, and none of the music is real. It's all AI generated. And you can see this. We have channels that share this kind of stuff. They laugh and they joke about it, and it can be fun. There's a lot of stuff. But if you were to watch this on your phone, you may not get to see, you may not understand that this isn't actually a real person singing this song.
Well, he's sure nice to look at. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, but again, they utilize some of these items to manipulate. And again, if you can give just enough information to where it can sound true, okay, we've seen this before with different ads, and you see this on eBay with, hey, this collection's really, really cool. Come check this out. The makeup, the design element is cool. Look at this, right? Again, we talk about Chuck's entire Lincoln Cent counterfeit coin collection, right? They mark these up. We can look at Peace Dollar and fake things that are there that show all of these really cool coins. That 1796 Peace Dollar that I showed you guys about a month ago, that was created 200 years or 150
that was
years
hot.
before. Yeah, 150 years before the Peace Dollar was ever created. 70 or 80 years before the designer was even born. Right. So again, there's a lot of this information where we have to be careful. We have to understand what's being targeted. But the reason that I'm sharing this all with you guys is because we're under an information attack. Okay, so I want you guys to look at the information that's happening, look at some of these things, and yes, granted, they can be fun. Yes, granted, look at these and you can get a lot of laughs out of these. And if I was to play more through this, one of the things that they were talking about is, if you were to look at the name of this, let me go back just a little bit here.
It's much easier to laugh about it when you're not losing a bunch of money on them, though.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Okay, so here, I'm going to make this a little bit big again. All right. See this name right here?
Sorry.
Zhao Hong Zhu? Right?
Sure.
This guy just happens to know exactly how to spell it or how to pronounce it. All right, again, this is one of those things that it's just, some of it's kind of funny. Oh, freaking awesome. Gifted 10 memberships. Scott S.
Hey,
King's
was that
Coins.
province called the Fujian province or whatever? Sorry, I'm interrupting. Or something like that you were asking about, the province Fujian or something like that? There was one province mentioned in that article called the Fujian province.
Oh, where they do the counterfeit stuff?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. Again, if you've heard of things like Portobello Road and, Morocco and some of the places where they have counterfeiting and stuff like that. But freaking awesome. Thanks so much for the 10 gifted memberships. Again, Scott S. King's Coins, Jesse, Nash Landings, Fill Up the Board, Catfish, hey Dan, what's going on? SW, DSG MMA, Bait the Hook, and Robert Freely. Very, very gracious of you. Thanks, freaking awesome. I appreciate you, bud. But yeah, so we'll talk about some of the places where we do counterfeits. I just wanted to share this. Again, this channel is called The China Show. Go check them out. Again, I didn't get permission to utilize this stuff. Hopefully they don't strike me. But I want you guys, they share a lot of really good information. I want to share that particular site with you because it's important for us to understand that the information that's coming out, the information that is not just within media regarding the fires, but within our hobby. A lot of that is state sponsored from China. A lot of the information that's coming out, a lot of the coin channels that are out there. You look at the country of origin, you're going to find Hong Kong, you're going to find China. Now, why is that important?
Hey,
go ahead.
You know what? What you talking about this made me think when you were talking about it, about how, like, it's not just China. Like, we get this type of effect. It's not on the grand scale like what China does in our own community. People trying to sow discord by passing off false information, and it could be just about one person, and that's on a much smaller scale, but it has the same effect. It can, somebody talking about somebody and passing bad information about somebody in the community can cause a huge
ripple.
Discord.
You're right.
Yep.
And it rips the community apart. We've seen it. There's a divide in the community now, but there always is. But
well, that's an argument. As me and Frosty were talking about that earlier. This is just one example of many, many ways that misinformation affects our lives. Not just coins, not just everything. It's everything in our life. From you can eat cinnamon to cure your diabetes. That's most of that is misinformation for somebody trying to sell some super cinnamon product because regular cinnamon doesn't have enough.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some of the like the article that I have here on my screen regarding not just your collectibles, folks. And again, we are a collectible. I am a collectibles channel. I talk about numismatics and stacking and stuff. But general protection of our community is what I'm about, right? Making sure that you guys have information, make sure there's information out there for you guys to understand. And so when I see this kind of stuff, it's really important that I share this with you all. By the way, Stan, are you still here? So I want to show a couple of things before I go on to this next one. Stan, here's a couple of the items that I've received in. This is a really cool piece. Stan sent me these, and he just said, hey, I found these going through some stuff, and I know you were Navy, and I knew you'd appreciate this. This is actually an Israeli medal that is really, really, really cool. And down below, it's, those who make a way for themselves, make a way for their nation. It's really cool. This is a Navy medal.
That was nice.
Really cool. Just send me some Navy stuff. And then he sent me something, knowing I was stationed at Pearl Harbor. He sent me something actually from Pearl Harbor. This is the Pearl Harbor, the Arizona Memorial silver piece. And just sent that to me just to say thank you. And I got my axe in. This is the new axe. I love these things. They're gorgeous. I got the 3 in the series so far. And then Oregon Stacker sent me this.
I got a candle from Oregon Stacker's wife once.
He
and a big sticker.
Yeah, he me's funny. Can you talk about the Surgeon General's warning against frostbite? That's funny. These are just people having done nice things. The axe I got in a trade from Supreme Ginger Stacker. He knows that I'm working on the series, so he was working on collecting that or getting those, and so he made sure he got me a piece for that. So really, really cool. But Bellows Forge. I'm personally frustrated as a new stacker and collector. The high volume of fakes that are in the market. I'm a little worried about getting taken advantage of and being sold fakes.
You should be.
You should be. Yeah, exactly. And this is one of the reasons that I'm having this conversation today, is because this problem is rampant. It's one of the things that, again, and misinformation is not just coming regarding our hobby. In the article that was done by Jack Young, and I'll see if I can pull that up. I'll have to pull that up on Facebook, and I'll see if I can post that in there.
I have it. If you want me to share it to you, I don't know if it's the same one that you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's just he's going to be it's the one where he talks about he's going to be redoing the article about China and the Texas connection. There was a person in Texas who was distributing extremely good quality counterfeit coins. And he talks about that. He talks about what's happening. And we're not talking about the cheap counterfeits, folks. We're talking about those that are really meant to disrupt and fool even the best collectors. In many cases, the TPGs, is it called the TPGs?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. These are the grading companies, right? And they've gotten fooled by some of these counterfeits. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about high dollar items. We're talking about items that are bad. But the reason that I'm showing you this one is that they show some information regarding, and I'm going to zoom into this because this graphic is extremely important. I want you to take a look and understand. Now, this is 2023 regarding things, and this is all counterfeits across the board. Whether we're talking about Eric's favorite trivia question about what's the most counterfeited item in the world, or we're talking about money and counterfeit coins and things of that nature. Hong Kong and China, between the two of them, account for 80% of the counterfeits that we find in the U.S. All the other countries combined only account for 10.6%. So it's really important to understand that this is, even the Chinese people joke, and if you watch that article or they watch that video all the way through, they'll even show you where Chinese people say that the only thing that's not fake in China is your mother. Because
your mother. They have your mother jokes.
They have your mother jokes in China. Yeah, it's awesome.
Your mother.
But the thing that's important about this is looking to understand generally all the counterfeit goods. But the counterfeit goods, and I'm going to get down here and I'm going to show you. This is scary. Number one is scary as hell. Why don't you buy pharmaceuticals online? Well, because 47% of the pharmaceuticals that were seized, many of them were rice and unknown powders. They didn't know what was in them. They couldn't track them. Personal care items, skin lotions, things like that. Eye protection, like sunglasses, consumer electronics. We know about consumer electronics. Consumer electronics are very, very dangerous if you're getting them from China, because even things like a power cord can actually have little devices inside of them, planted inside of it, that act as keystroke generators that push something like 800, 900 keystrokes per second, and basically can install code faster than you can unplug it. They can install malware and all that stuff. So you got to be very careful about where you're buying your products just because you want to save a buck. This happens in our hobby all the time. People see a really good deal for silver. They see a really good deal for gold. They see a really good deal on a numismatic coin, and they want to jump all over it because they think they've beat the system. Be very aware of that. But the reason that I wanted to share this with you is just a protection factor. It's important that you guys know that a lot of the stuff that's uncontrolled, and even some of the stuff that's controlled in the U.S. is not so great. But a lot of the stuff that's uncontrolled are some of the top items that are seized. Now, you won't see money listed in here because they're talking about, really, 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 really high impact items that affect health. Money in this particular case isn't affecting health. But when they start breaking it down again, you're looking at where it falls into wearing apparel, right? Eric's favorite trivia question is, what's the number one most counterfeit item in the world? And it's actually the flip-flop, the slipper, right? What was the total revenue? It's like 500 million or billion,
it was,
right?
Yeah, tons and tons. And I was shocked. It was like 70% of all the stuff out there. People buy it as real every day and don't even know.
Yeah. And that kind of stuff, again, you see that only accounts for 11% of the footwear items that are there. But again, there's so much other stuff out there. When looking at the numbers, because I got on a rant when he told me that the first time, I was like, nah, there's no way. No. Like there's Coach bags and stuff like that. There's got to be way higher.
Way more people wear shoes than wear Coach bags.
In relation to the next higher one, which was handbags and personal apparel. The closest one was like $200 billion. Flip-flops was like $530 billion. It almost doubled the next closest item. It was unreal. E-commerce, right? How they get stuff through. Again, we talked about Panama. We talked about the Panama Canal. I just did the Panama Exposition coin. We talked about the expansion in 2007 and how it's allowing more and more and more and more goods. This is allowing the frequency of counterfeits to increase. The other thing that's been a huge boon for this is the 2020 or the 2019 COVID epidemic, where people started not wanting to go to their local retail shops because of the fear of being sick. And so they started buying things online. Because of that, the counterfeit good industry exploded, because now you're doing international shipping. Now, I've got a question for chat. Let's do some engagement real quick.
Why does chat get all the fun?
Well, you guys get all the fun like 99% of the time I go live. So, but a question in chat. So real quick,
Jeez.
When we're talking about, I just got squirreled. What the hell was I talking? Panama goods. Okay, so when we're talking about this, how many people have been online, and let's just use Amazon. Okay, I'm not picking on anybody. If I was picking on somebody, I'd talk to you about the Temu fire, where the entire factory was destroyed and they lost like $500.
The ramen noodle truck, yeah. The ramen noodle truck rolls over and they lost $6 with the ramen noodles.
Yeah, exactly. Or when the vinegar and oil trucks collided on the highway. Did you hear about that?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I love it.
Anyway.
Oh God! Did you say douche?
Yeah, stupid jokes. All right, but Amazon, right? So you buy stuff from Amazon. It's like, oh, it'll be there in 2 days, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you buy it, it's like it'll arrive, 8 weeks from now. Those are coming from China, right? Yeah. They have to pass customs. They have to do whatever. So when you look at those again, if you're all of a sudden you buy this and you're expecting something, and then you look at your thing, how many people have had that happen?
Me.
How many people have had situations where they try to pick up something and all of a sudden now what the proposed delivery time is now a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, right? These are because these goods are coming from overseas. This is something
almost every year at Christmas. It used to happen to me until I finally learned to look. You can look further down in Amazon and see where things are coming from. I never used to do that. Now you can look to see where they're coming from, and I don't order anything that's because I never get it in time for Christmas.
Yeah, so be very, very careful if you're ordering very expensive goods. We had a member of our community who just experienced something where AZ's here, right? Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Really heartbreaking story where his son tried to buy him something really nice for Christmas, ended up being counterfeit. Right. These things happen all the time in our community. Right. And I'm not picking on, I think that, and I've talked about this before. I think that this is a great opportunity to learn, right? Everything is an opportunity for us to gain more more information, to get better at what it is that we're doing, to grow ourselves and to understand. it's also an opportunity for other people to see that these things happen within our community. And so how do we safeguard this? How do we protect this? So I want to share information. And again, right, let Darkskoy know, right? Don't be pissed off about this. This is a great opportunity for father and son to come together and say, let's learn about this. Okay, there's opportunities in these lessons. And this is what today is. Today's an opportunity for me to share some information that's been provided regarding methods and what happens. So let's go ahead and get to this one. Okay, 2021, Customs Border Patrol sees currency, right? Not a big deal. Look at the amount. Okay, $1,400 and $9,200 bills. Okay, sent in from a residence in Georgia. Now, this was sent from China. These were counterfeit China. They can track them back. The next seizure was compromised right here. 2,548 coins. 908 coins. Look at this. Officer seized 39 50-cent coins, $6,345 coins, 283 $2.50 coins. Folks, these are gold. $2.50 coins, $1 coins. These are gold. 50-cent coins. These are probably rarities. Okay. Again, this is not just regarding counterfeit goods and services. We're talking about coins and bills, right? Tons and tons of money. Here's the one. This is where we're looking back again. Texas Connection. Okay. $9,700. Both shipments were declared as bar props. However, counterfeit Federal Reserve noting is federal crime. Okay. So again, it's important that people understand that this happens. I'm from Texas, right? So this makes me go, man, I really need to start paying really close attention if I'm going to go buy some stuff from local shops. I need to really understand what I'm looking for. I need to understand what the dye markers are if I'm going to be looking for a rare coin. I need to understand what to look for in a fake counterfeit slab. Because some of these slabs, and again, the article by Jack Young that I'm going to share with you here in just a few moments. Hey, Christopher D, thank you for subscribing. Much love. Appreciate you. One of the important things to look for is that when you go buy something, it doesn't matter if you're buying from a trusted source. Eric and I were talking about this before we came on. Paula came on this morning, by the way, and the first thing she did is laugh because Eric was using his favorite word. There are coins that are not authentic that are in authentic holders. There are authentic coins that are in non-authentic holders. Sometimes they've been cracked out. Sometimes they're just counterfeits and counterfeit slabs. But sometimes these are good enough to pass through the eyes. If you watch the live coin Q&A one with Jack Young, where he talked about the non-Morgans, right? They're paying attention. They're getting smarter. They're listening to the things that are coming out. They're growing. This is really important for you guys to understand because you guys need to be on top of this. Now, there's a lot of channels out there that sell information. There's a lot of channels that sell goods. There's a lot of channels that sell services. And I'm not saying that the channels that get stuff wrong on occasion are bad. Chuck Daughtry came on and we talked about some of this stuff. Some channels were dropped. Doesn't mean that the channels themselves are bad. But it just... so I got to stop real quick and answer Me's question. No, absolutely not. What I want people to do is I want people to be safe. I want people to understand that if you're going to do this, I want to protect people, right? I don't sell anything. I don't run ads. I don't do games. I don't do auctions. I've got zero financial reason to invest in anything other than to give you guys good information. There is nothing about my channel that says buy, get, I've stopped and not, I have friends that have coin shops. You have to do your due diligence, right? And I want the new person to come in, right? I'm working on a video. I'm not going to share too much information because I don't want to share it away. That it's not your grandfather's hobby anymore, right? They're not a bunch of good old boys that sit around and they sit in the coin shops and they talk for hours looking over coins. That doesn't happen as nearly as much as it used to. The way that coin collecting is growing, it's very social media based. It is it's important to understand what you're looking at. There are these channels that are, WhatsApp and YouTube, eBay. There's all these other purchasing channels, auction channels, where the stuff happens so fast. Boom, 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 that if you don't actually know what it is that you're looking at, you can get taken. You can bid yourself up on something real fast and way, way overspend. There are people
TikTok, who... Or not TikTok, whatnot.
Whatnot, horrible. Yeah.
You can hit that button and all of a sudden it's 50, you're in the whole $50.
Well, yeah. So a great example of this, and I didn't mind doing it. There was an innovation coin that Sean Blue Ridge Silverhound was doing on his channel, and it was something that I wanted. So, and I was looking at it, clicked the button, and somebody bid up, and I was like, "Oh, I'll go $25. Not a big deal." So I looked at it. By the time I had hit my button to go up, it went to $40. So I paid $18 over what the price was, and that wasn't my intent. Now, I don't mind buying it. I know the coin is good. I know Sean's a good guy. It was like, man, I got to be careful with this. But I started to realize very carefully, and what I started to do is I just started to tap, basically, not hitting the keyboard, nothing, and seeing if I was to just tap one or two times, what that price would be. And I found that in many, many cases, the difference between 10, 15 seconds could be $30, $50, $100. And if somebody got really crazy and wanted to pop it up real quick just because somebody was bidding, there's a bidding frenzy, you could explode a bid really quickly and all of a sudden spend 50, 60, $70 on something you only wanted to spend 20 on. So you've got to be very, very careful. It doesn't mean that those people are bad. It just means that you have to urge and use caution when utilizing those platforms.
Yeah, that whatnot isn't the seller most of the time. It's the platform. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. But there are nefarious people out there. There are crooked people out there that will utilize that to their advantage.
Yeah, I was saying my basic, if you find a trusted seller on whatnot, and there are trusted sellers out there.
There are.
You hit that button, and you can hit that button, and it says $2, and all of a sudden it's $40 when it comes through, and your click counts as $40.
Hey, me just gifted 5 memberships. Scotty Aquati, Currency Systems, Olin Borden. I love that name. Steel City Stacker, and Bet I Did Lab. Thank me for giving you guys membership.
Thank me.
Thanks me.
Thank me.
Me thanks me. All right, very kind. But again, looking at these items, and again, folks, I'm not trying to stir up fear. What I want you guys to do is be aware of this. Okay. Again, looking at this one, the total of this bogus currency cash was 165,000. Okay, and there were like 7 busts in this particular set. Looking at the next one, the Hampshire Gazette. Okay, dealers talking about the warning of fake coins. Right. Buyers need a reputable dealer. This is a coin shop saying, hey, you guys, you need to have somebody that can find this stuff. You need to find somebody who knows what they're talking about. This is a coin dealer saying, you guys, you just need to find somebody who knows what's going on. And again, here, right, this guy says, I just can't believe the government lets people get away with this stuff. And the fact is, they're not. Right, there are a lot of people out there. We talk about Joe Cronin, we talk about Jack Young, we talk about Jack Riley, we talk about other people that are They really, really, really want to protect the hobby. They really want to get out there and pass off good information. They work with law enforcement all the time to shut down, to identify these rings, to shut down YouTube. Oh my God, I don't know how many sites and what do they call it? Posts that Jack and them get shut down every day. So their efforts, people are doing stuff about it. The problem is that there's such an influx of this stuff out there.
Yep, there's not enough time in the day.
Nope.
To get rid of it all.
You can't. And as soon as you think that you got it, they've developed something that's better. It's just like cybersecurity. As soon as you counter that, they've already found one or two ways to counter your counter, right? If they are forward-thinking people and they're thinking about how you might counter, then once you implement a countermeasure, they may have something that plays on top of that. So again, it's really important to understand some of the information. Again, I'm showing you different ones that are, coin channels, coin shops, brick and mortar shops, saying you need to really be careful for it. Stackers, right? He's like, this is really problem with high record gold and silver prices being so high. There are issues where, because of this, people are wanting to spend more money, right? This is really, really concerning regarding the senior citizens because they're trying to take and make money. Again, I talked about he talks about an elderly man visited a shop and sold a complete set of silver eagles from 86, only to find out that all the coins were fake. Right? We talk about, again, when you're talking about coins, when we're talking about, have you guys ever heard of the Good Idea Fairy? Have I ever told you about the Good Idea Fairy? The Good Idea Fairy, in my line of work, I'm a process improvement guy. My job is to look and to make things better, to kind of identify stuff.
Good ideas.
Targeted towards us spending a lot of time and effort on something that has no outcome, it has no benefit. One of the good idea fairies that we find in this hobby is people trying to find new ways to present old or damaged items, right? And so even in this, we see things coming from, and when I talk about the hobby, I'm talking about manufacturers, talking about things like the Danbury Mint, talking about things like Coin Show TV, talking about channels like the Coin Tube or the Coin Channel Tube that take information, they give enough information to make it sound correct, but it's total misinformation. Talking about you can have this 1795 coin, this half cent, and just this is a beautiful representation of an American classic. It's a representation, it's not a real coin. Fancy uses of terminology and language, trying to talk people into buying things like mechanical doubling as double dice. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that exists in this hobby, and you've got to be very aware of what that means. Last week we talked about, and the week before actually, we talked about understanding the difference between value and price. Right? The price you'll pay for something doesn't necessarily mean that that's its value. We also talked about the deference to expertise, right? Which is if you're going to take information to someone, we talk about Livecoin Q&A and the service they provide. If you're going to take something to them and ask them what's your opinion on this, when they tell you, don't tell them that they're wrong. Right? Don't go to the experts and ask them for information only that
they can tell us we're wrong. Just come at us with
this is why you're wrong.
This is why you're wrong. Exactly. Show me. You have the burden of proof, not me. It's your point.
The important piece about this, again, I can give you thousands of examples within the last year. And Paula and I have talked about this from channels that we can't stand to channels that we love, right? And we've talked about the various pieces of information. Jeff Matney, what's up, my brother? This is a guy that I know. I worked with him.
He must be on the other side.
Total stud. Good dude. Hey, Jeff, what's going on, bud? Nice to see you. But again, it's one of these things where when you look at the protection of hobby, when you look at the protection of anything, the good idea fairy is the biggest counter to productivity ever. And the good idea fairy goes something like this. Hey, you know what would be cool? Hey, you know what would be fun? If we added this, because it might be interesting for somebody, or it might be, Jeff, so correct me if I'm wrong, and Jeff and I have done this. He's a process improvement guy as well. Brilliant dude, actually. Really understands this stuff. How many times has a good idea fairy screwed you? The good idea fairy, and again, we have this in our hobby. And what's important to understand when we look at these types of things, and we see this through things like the Danbury Mint, when we see this through some of these other companies, hey, you can buy this amazing American representation. People want to support it because they want to support America. They want to, too many times to count is what Jeff said. But again, it's one of those things where they will utilize patriotism. They will utilize the FOMO, the fear of missing out. They will utilize SHTF, which if you guys haven't seen Tiger's video that he did, you remember the movie Airplane?
Wait a minute.
You remember that,
SHTF,
Eric?
I do.
Tinkering fun.
You remember when he says the thing's going to hit the fan, and then they actually show the office scene, and then they watch the poop actually hitting the fan. I love that. It's amazing. All stackers should have that when they're talking about SHTF. But there's ideas that are created, ideas that are generated that they sound good from the front, but they actually cause massive problems within the hobby, or within the process, or within something that's going on. So in Jeff and my world, when we're working in the systems that we're working with, just because people like data doesn't mean that the data is good. It doesn't mean that you should have it. And again, in the coin collection, just because it sounds like it might be a novel idea doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be beneficial. What's important to understand is that it's that idea, that concept that can be utilized against you. Again, we've talked about Sun Tzu and the art of war, the deceptive tactics that are utilized in that particular book are meant more as, and again, Eric and I talked about this morning, more as a psychological item against you. So how can I utilize the information that you like? How can I utilize the information that you believe in? How can I utilize your patriotism? How can I utilize your love for your country? How can I utilize your love for numismatics? How can I utilize your fear of missing out? How can I utilize your concern about SHTF against you to make you purchase a product that you don't really need? We've seen this with the video games, right? They're out there. Oh my God, this limited mintage of 500,000 coins. There's runs that have been smaller than that. Oh my God, you can get one of 50,000 coins. No, it's not one of 50,000 coins. It's a label. It's just a piece of paper inside a plastic holder that says this is one of 50,000 coins. Pop that out. Nobody knows any different. There's no special marking, no special anything on it. It's just a fancy way of doing this. And then what happens? Well, people get stuck with something that they have an idea of what they paid for it, which is the price, but the value no longer holds up. Okay, so be careful of this. This is all a method. This is all a way to destabilize economies. This is a way to destabilize, take information and manipulate it to a fact that, well, if I can get the hand up on you that way, then I've taken your money. I've put you in a situation where now I have more than you have. This is something that was done. This is an article talking about counterfeiting in China. This is by Daniel Fleming. This actually came from Cornell, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It might be Purdue. But he talks about China. And again, specifically talking about the various things that are happening when it comes to things like pharmaceuticals and medications and stuff that are coming out of here. He talks about your intellectual information and the property regarding laws that are supposed to be put in place that actually all they do is benefit the Chinese government. They talk about the counterfeit capitaling of China, which is yiwu. Okay, 200 tons of goods from the services on cities in the black market. In Beijing, the official capital, 5-hour train ride from where you can pick up anything, dubbed Treasure Street. This is one of the things that I was talking about. Yabalu is a modern house, 300 private showrooms, each representing a Chinese factory where counterfeits are produced. Gucci watches, Rolexes, and I guarantee you state-sponsored coinage from all nations. Again, we have major issues in the United States, but if you're overseas and you're in the UK, or you're in Germany, or you're in Denmark, or you're in Switzerland and stuff like that, you're going to see that they have major issues regarding counterfeits, way higher than we do here in the U.S. Freaking awesome. Gifted another 10 memberships. That's awesome. Mentally Corrupted, Weldon Carey, McVillan, Slots, Spinster, Sinster. I like Spinster Sister. That's cool. Ike's Girl, Second Chance Stacks, Elizabeth Flood, Harley Babe, Anna I'm Crazy, The Chop Shop and whatnot. And you guys should all say thank you so much to Freaking Awesome. That's so much. I appreciate you, bud. Thank you for that. Again, talking about everything. Here it is. This is what I was telling you. Remember, I said this earlier. Everything is fake but your mother. We can copy everything except your mother. This is a Chinese slogan that's often used. With places like Yawu and Treasure Street providing counterfeit ranges from car inspection stickers to college diplomas, designer clothing, computer software, and again, numismatic gold and silver items. Okay, now it doesn't state this, but again, if they have all this other stuff, you know they're implementing these items as well. So I really want you guys to be aware when you're out there. When you guys are buying particular items, doesn't matter if you're buying silver or gold. It doesn't matter if you're buying numismatics items. It doesn't matter if you're buying something for your wife. You want a really nice purse. You want a really nice do this. Crafting Budgie Mama, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming into the stream. Thank you for being a subscriber. I appreciate you. Again, what's really important is looking at the information and understanding its country of origin. Why does that matter? Does that mean that everything in the U.S. is safe to buy? No. There are items here, we look at, if you're a real health conscious nut, you'll know that they've reduced the amount of, I think it's red dye number 5 or something like that, basically making it illegal. There's some other things that are here that, been sub for a while now. Oh, no problem. I'm still glad you're a sub, but thank you for being here. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean, especially when it comes to U.S. food, right? There's been a lot of issues regarding some of the stuff that's found in the food that you won't find overseas because they've deemed it illegal due to some of the products. Just be aware of what you're buying. Be aware of what's going on. Know what you're looking for. So if you're going to be buying, a silver coin, make sure you understand what to look for. Make sure you understand where it's coming from. Find your trusted partners. Find your trusted sources. Make sure that you're identifying these things. And again, folks, anybody can be fooled. Anybody can be fooled. We talked about the TPG and Jack Young, where they've identified a lot of things that are in official holders that are fake coins. They're in good slabs. The slabs are authentic. They're authentic TPG slabs. It's just that the coin got by them. The person doing it didn't identify it as a fake. So make sure you understand what you're looking for. And if you're ever in a situation where you get a counterfeit, then there are people that are around that can help you. Make sure that you have things in place. If you ever go to buy something online and they say no returns, talk to them about that. What does that mean? If I find out that this coin is a counterfeit, are you going to honor this as being authentic? Be leery of telling people, well, I'll just make sure that they show me a photo of the weight of the coin. Paula, I think you're still here. I think she probably stepped. Oh, there you are. Yep, I can see you.
I'm here. I'm just farting around.
No worries. You were talking a while back about an image that somebody sent you of the weight of a coin that had the word hold on it. right? Where they had put the authentic coin, and then they put this one on top of it. And they pushed hold button so that the weight didn't change, and it made it look like this is the weight of the actual coin. This is an extremely deceptive tactic.
So it's always weird to me when they do that. Like it's obviously an intent, just somebody trying to get attention or something, or trolling, but it's weird to me when they do that. Like, yeah, like what's the point? I don't know.
I just read the dad joke. The Swiss must have been pretty confident in their chances of victory. They included a corkscrew in their army knife.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny. I'm going to have to use that one.
I did come across a counterfeit a couple days ago that was pretty interesting to me. I don't know if you want me to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm done with my segment. I just want you guys to be aware. And again, for the folks, please go check out the China show. Again, not sponsored. They didn't say, "Hey, use our information." Go do this. Again, they're not sponsored by me. I'm not working with them. Great channel though. I've watched 2 or 3 of their videos yesterday after watching this one. Go check them out. I think they're really good. Again, if you haven't seen it, you're disappointing us. That's not the one I want to do. The Art of War. Go check out The Art of War. Make sure you're familiar with that book. I think it's a book that everybody should read to understand how manipulation. This is a cybersecurity article talking about how they utilize this. It's from 2017, but it's still a great read. So again, just make sure that you're looking through and trying to identify those kind of items. So Paula, go ahead and show this particular item, if you will.
So
thanks for the super chat, Amy. $7. I appreciate you. Love your support. Thank you so much.
Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So this popped up in one of the Facebook groups a couple days ago. Is it not sharing? I don't know what's going on. My thing's been like super slow.
That's what my wife said.
Okay.
Ooh, I saw that.
That's what she said. Yeah. And so I don't know what the deal with this guy is, and I'm not going to jump to conclusions thinking that he's trying to scam anybody or whatever. He obviously has this coin. Or somebody else had bought it, whatever. Anyway, well, if you guys know how to do it, if you go to PCGS's website and you go to verify and you put in that cert number, starts with 316, it will pull up the actual coin. And now this coin is supposed to be from the Simpson collection. The Simpson collection is the finest known collection of off metal errors. So he also has like 43 copper. Most of you guys are aware of this. This is a 44 steel. So if you go to the site, you can clearly see that it's not the same coin pictured. This is not the same coin pictured. Now I'm going to bring up something, and this is where it really gets kind of disturbing. But you guys give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves for a second, because this takes me a minute. I don't know why I didn't like save this, bookmark this website.
Oh, are you looking up the coin? The picture from PCGS?
No, I am. I'll show you. I'm going to the website where he got this coin.
That's what I was saying. There was some banter that these were were actually for sale.
So when I type in that number, I get something that says, please contact PCGS customer service.
That's because they know that it's been fake.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Then because I know that Jack was working on it. If few people were working on getting it removed from PC. You know, the sad thing is this is the owner of the actual coin has, like I said, the finest known examples of this. So I don't know what he's going to do as far as if he's going to have to get a different cert number put on his.
They'll probably.
I don't know, because it's not the only one.
Because
it's not the only one.
Oh, you know what? I got it to come up. Never mind.
They'll probably reholder it or get him to reholder it.
Well,
and most of these guys,
Jack had said that it's very difficult to. Jack had said that it's very difficult to get.
There's the PCGS.
Removed. So, okay, let me pull this up now. Let me stop sharing this.
So this is what you pull up when you pull up that item.
That's the actual coin. That is the real.
This is the actual
from the
coin.
Simpson collection. Yeah. So
that's the coin right there.
Yes, that's the real coin. Now, what these people do is they steal the cert numbers off of actual graded slabbed coins, and they make these fake holders. That's what they do. So I don't know if you have me up.
It just pulled you up?
I can't see.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the source right there.
Okay. So
AliExpress. Yeah, that's a red flag.
Here's the deal with this. Yes, but this is what really disturbed me about this is typically these coins, these fake coins, they sell them for a couple bucks. This one, they actually have a high dollar amount on these coins. So this is the steel cent. This is just the regular steel cent. But if you scroll down.
That's got a different number on it.
Hang on, let me. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
1 second.
And they don't put the word steel on there.
This one.
Do they?
Oh, there you go, right there.
Yep, that's the other one. So they're listing multiples of this.
They are, and only one from the Simpson collection, but so obviously they have, yeah.
So just so
this guy got very defensive. Sorry.
Just so you guys understand something real quick, this coin, again, looking at MS63, if you go back and you'll look at this particular item, you'll see the price guide value for this coin is about $87,000.
Yeah.
Not a $600 coin. So even though you're looking at a $670, $665 coin, this, based off of PCGS price guide for this coin, is an $87,000 coin.
And so this is a reprocessed coin. This is a plated coin inside of this thing.
So just understand the differences that we're talking about. Understand the dollar figures that are happening here. This is not just some little cheap coin. This is a huge key player coin.
They're up in their game. They for sure are, because so the guy got really defensive. He said, "Oh, I put in the cert number and it comes up. How come it still comes up on PCGS?" I tried to explain to him that these AliExpress and these other places, they steal the cert numbers off of genuine labels, and they just make fake slabs with fake labels. And anyway, normally people don't get as defensive as this guy. He ended up he pulled down the post and left the group and everything. I think but normally they don't pay that kind of money for these things either. So this guy really got, I mean, $600 is not it's not a drop in the bucket for most of us, right? It's, like I said, most of these counterfeits you find on AliExpress and Temu and these other places, Alibaba or whatever, and they go for a few dollars. This one, they really stepped up their game on this one.
Yeah, and again, if you look at,
really a shame.
I'm going to pull this back up here. If you look at this particular coin, okay, if you look at the one that she had there, there's some items on the field here that look like plating blisters, or what is the not plating blisters? What's the when they When they coat those coins, what's that stuff called?
It's plating.
They just plate them.
Okay, so they're plating blisters, right? So if you look at the one, Paula, will you pull that image back up again? Let's zoom in a little bit on that one. If you look at that particular coin right here in this area, you're going to see what looks like some plating blisters on that 1944. Okay.
Well, it won't have plating blisters, but that's actual like corrosion.
When you pull that up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about.
If you ask Chuck, he says the 43 bronze and the 44 fakes that he have, those are the best, some of the best fakes that they did.
Mm-hmm.
He said they actually did the 40, especially the 43 bronze. He says, unless you really know what you're looking for, it's very hard to distinguish. He said they did fantastic.
Well, these are actual coins. I mean, these are real 1944s. They're just plated. They're just plated.
Yeah, but 600 Chinese renminbi is like what? 70 cents?
This is 600 US. This is 600 US dollars.
So you can see, but if you look at this, you can tell that this is not the same coin. Okay, so let's put these. Oh, it's not going to allow me to. Nope, it's going to do it. So we'll go back and forth. But if you look at the fields on this particular coin, right? You look at this area, you're not going to see that corrosion that you see here. So again, when you're looking at this, you can see that there's like a little ring ding right here. You can see that there's some corrosion that's located over on the side here. And you don't see that when you're looking at this particular coin. Okay, so again, when you look here, you can see there's that little mark there, right? That doesn't show up on this little ring ding. Okay, I don't know here. Let me oops. Oh, I can't zoom in. I have to save this goofy image. I hate it when it does that. But you can see there's a little ring ding that happens right here. It's not on the other coin. But there's a whole lot of corrosion that happens. It's just not on this coin. And so it's important to really kind of look at the images and then look at the coin. Sometimes they're actually really close. Many times they're not.
There's only one. There's only one of these coins in the Simpson collection. You're not going to buy it on AliExpress.
Yeah, and you're not going to find multiples of it.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Generally speaking, buying coins from AliExpress is not a winning proposition.
It's never a winning proposition.
That's true. That's true.
It's never.
Well, freaking awesome. One of the issues with the magnets, and Eric and I were talking about this. Actually, I think
you got to buy it first before you can test it.
The plated coins they're magnetized because they're using ferrous metal.
Yeah, so
it depends on what they're using.
If they're utilizing aluminum or steel based
or pure nickel or
sometimes you'll actually get a magnetic property that you wouldn't have because of that. So, but again, it's really important to look at some of these. And again, Jack has got so many. If you haven't done that, so please do me a favor, Paula, put in that link again for the Jack Young discussion on the Morgans.
Oh, for my channel?
Yeah.
Can I stop sharing this now?
I mean, you can stop sharing if you want to. I've already pulled it off, but.
Oftentimes, though, they reprocess with zinc itself. So because the original ones were plated with zinc, they'll just replate them with zinc.
Well, and see, that's so great. Scott said tungsten is not magnetic. That's true. They use different things. There's actually another chemical that's out there, another metal that's being used that actually for gold, that actually tests like gold. It actually will fool your testers. And they've talked about this, and I can't remember who it was that I saw this on. I don't remember if it was on Yankees or if it was on Salivate or if it was on Seekers. But they talked about this particular metal utilized that it will fool your testers. But again, one of the issues, and when you're looking at these types of things, the important thing is look at the thickness. Even tungsten has a little bit different weight. So usually the thickness or the diameter of the coin is going to be off in order to make sure that it's 1 troy ounce. But again, it's just important to understand what you're looking for.
Hey, Kevin.
But again, misinformation's huge. And again,
listen, I'm having issues So if somebody else can pull that video, that'd be awesome. I'm having issues.
Yeah, no problem.
Look at my little hair thingy. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm on my tablet and it's, you know.
I'm glad you said tablet because when you said you were on your, I was like, oh.
On my, no, I don't have that anymore.
Here it is.
Anyway.
Okay, here is the link that's going to be put in here. This is the Jack Young interview where he talks about the Morgans. Again, showing the difference in here. It's a great video. I recommend everybody go check that out. Jack's a great guy. I also like Jack Riley. Jack Riley's really hardcore into this. Always posting some great stuff. But go check that out. I think it's one of the greatest
kid. He's a smart kid.
He's always showing, hey, check this out. Look what I found, right? Check this thing out. Look at this. This is what we've identified. And these are the kind of people we need for our hobby. These are the people that are passionate about what they're doing. They're trying to find good information and pass it on. They're not asking for anything, right? They're just here to really protect because their desires.
I just had a conversation with Ken Potter. These our older guys they're not getting any younger and they're not going to be around forever. Yeah. And so it's very important that we get younger people interested in really learning in depth and stuff like that, because they are going to become the teachers.
And the people they consider young people are us.
And hopefully they,
that's true.
So yes.
Well, yeah, I know.
We've had this conversation but everybody says, why isn't so-and-so doing this and that? Well, he's almost 80 years old. He doesn't want to do it anymore. You know, you do lose the ability to concentrate for 24 hours in a day. Or you just don't want to. You'd rather walk in the woods or something like that. Play with your dog.
Crown. I like that. It is a poofy crown.
Miss Coin Crew.
Yes, I am royalty.
Absolutely, Azure. Yeah, I don't mind. Again, what I want to do is when I see stuff.
I learned something new. I had no idea about the presses.
You had what?
I learned something new today.
Oh, about the fact that we had sold presses to China?
I learned something new today. I had no idea about those presses.
Yeah, there was a good special on
I still have the article up.
There's actually a History Channel special on it.
But there's a really good article about it.
It talks about them in like 1973.
Here's what happened is that we gave
in Iran,
they got China some of our old presses to help,
to do their coinage, but we gave Iran the presses for coins and paper money.
I've got feedback. Like I hear you guys talking over each other.
Sorry, I'm done.
No. I'm just not sure if it's
we are
me or if it's in the program. Are you guys hearing talk back, like talk over?
I hear.
Not those two talking. I'm talking like where it's
there's background noise somewhere.
I'm not sure where that's coming from.
I don't hear it.
Interesting.
I don't hear it at all. But no, so what this article talks about is how we gave them some presses, some of our old presses, to help them with their coin production. And then they sold those off to a private Mr. Lin or whatever his name was, Lin, I don't know, but to a private person, and he got a machinist to fix them all up and everything and used them for nefarious purposes.
Yeah,
but originally when we sold them to China, they were being used for actual coin production, but they ended up in the wrong hands.
Yeah, so what the Chinese government had originally done with that is they had told the U.S. that they had been scrap for scrap metal, but that's not what actually had occurred. They had actually refit and replicated the machines and utilized them for So, but again, this is not the first time that had happened. And you talked about Iran, Eric, right?
Coin and dollar in bill presses.
Yeah. So again, those things have bit us back into things and having plates. If you guys have seen remember the A-Team? The movie The A-Team?
Of course.
Where they talk about the $100 plates that are there. They're almost perfect. And they were all done. That is based off of like a 1960, 1970 real life situation where they had issues where Iran and them actually had been replicating plates, and they ended up busting it. So I'll see if I can find information on that.
Yeah, the press itself is not the problem.
Again?
The press itself is not. I said the press itself is not the problem.
No, it's getting the product to make the product.
Yeah, it's these false dyes that they're making, and
the dyes are good, but the reason that the pressing, the reason it is a problem, is because the more you understand, and this is why I don't know if you guys you guys ever seen the videos how it's made?
Yes.
Okay, I loved that show. I still watch some of the old early '90s videos of how it's made. There's one, and I'll try to post these in the descriptions afterwards about how a baseball is made. Now we're talking about the twining of the 3 levels of twine that are utilized inside before they put that really nice coating over it. They put the sticky substance on the outside, and then they actually make the baseball. They show the plant where they have 60 or 70 people doing the stitching and the sewing of each individual baseball. And you can see kind of how it's all put together. These are, a lot of these things are handmade because a lot of the machines can't properly stitch a baseball. You have to do it by hand to ensure that wax and the stuff that they put on there to keep it from not being too tight, but tight enough to where it doesn't come loose or get over tight so it rips the stitching. It's very hard for machines to get this perfect. And so they were doing it, but they could not show the machine that actually does the twining ball because of proprietary reasons. Understanding how the machine works tells you a lot about the process. So if you reverse engineer a coin press, you'll understand a lot about the dies that they use, how they manufacture that stuff, the generation of it. So you can actually reverse engineer and get a lot of information from that. So I think that it's a huge problem to sell the equipment, because understanding how the functionality of the equipment is going to tell you how they do it. This is one reason I think that the U.S. Mint hasn't allowed. Go ahead.
We use the same presses as many countries, so they could get the presses from any. So that's not the problem. That's not the problem I see.
But a lot of the new presses, I think one of the reasons the U.S. Mint hasn't allowed people in is because of the proprietary information that's there. Because the U.S. Mint hasn't allowed somebody to tour their facility, right, in a long time.
They would.
They have a tour in Philadelphia and Denver, but I think that it's a generalized tour. I don't think they've done any actually like private tours where they used to take like. But
the presses are not a secret. We can go to the manufacturing.
I think you can actually buy them from Schuler, can't you?
Yeah, but again, they've been very clear on their. If you go look at their site and you read on the new technologies, there are adaptations that are made to each of these items to help fit specific needs.
They probably do.
It's listed on the Mint site. Go read it.
Change the presses a little bit.
Yeah, so they will say that there are certain things that they cannot show you. There are certain things that they cannot share because there are certain adaptations and things that they've made to ensure that their proprietary processes aren't shared. Say again?
Car manufacturers do the same thing.
Absolutely. This is normal in manufacturing.
Yeah, they're using the same components, like let's just say the 10-speed transmission. Ford's making all the 10-speed transmissions, but there's proprietary stuff that each manufacturer is putting into their transmission.
Yeah. And so again, it's one of those things that, yeah, I understand they do this, but again, coming from, and again, you guys need to understand, my first job was hydraulics, pneumatics engineering.
But you can't look at a counterfeit coin from China and know what press they used.
No, you can't. Well, you can. No, they could use a screw press. If anybody was at the fun show, they were making fun show coins out of nickels on a screw press, and they were coming out really good. They were really neat. I should have did it, but I was busy.
Yeah.
No, but you can't. People can take and reverse engineer the products, right? You can take something and look, if you have knowledge about the general processes, and you have knowledge about the information and the equipment that they use, you can reverse engineer the process, and you can improve your item, your deliverable, based off of the information that you get. Right? This is insider trading. This is why it's illegal. It's against the law to actual trade secrets, whether it becomes manufacturing processes, whether it becomes to minting or printing processes, whether it comes to information, dissemination of a specific data, right? That's why this insider trading, that's why that is illegal, because those processes allow other people to take over what that proprietary piece might be. So you can reverse engineer it if you have enough information. I think this is one reason that we don't sell that equipment anymore. I think it's one reason that we don't do. And again, I may be mistaken in this, but I don't think the Mint does any specialized floor tours because of the proprietary information. They don't want people seeing some of the new.
No, they would. They would. If you had the clout, they would give you a tour.
But I don't
Ken
think
and I were just talking about.
Have there been any new videos?
If he called, no, that's the problem. That's what him and I were talking about. I told him, so much of like when errors are coming out and stuff like that on the new coins, like so much of what we hear that caused that stuff is kind of educated guessing, because nobody really has bothered to go in and really look at the stuff in depth and everything. But if he wanted to, he could call them today and get in and do that. It's just a matter of nobody has really nobody that they consider somebody. You know what I mean?
Because I put in a request to do it and I was denied because they don't think I'm anybody.
Yeah, I can't just call in and request that. It would have to be somebody that they knew was going to.
I even tried to use some of my contacts that have credentials that can't do it.
Yeah. No.
So
they would. They wouldn't have a problem with that because, like I said, it's none of the minting process that they use now is a secret.
You know who we should ask to do that? Matt and Mike.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they got into the Smithsonian, right? I don't know that. So here's the thing, though. What I'm talking about is having somebody that can go in and actually document the stuff and write
one-on-one guiding tour.
Yeah. Somebody that could get in and watch the dies being set and things like that, because we know that there's the dies are inverted now, but we are finding times when they're not, but they're also inverted. So the hammer die is now the reverse.
I thought Ken said that they could be either, depending that they make them both ways.
That's what we're finding out, is that they are switching it up. Before it was thought to be like just consistent across the board, that they switched to the inverted presses and then they went to the horizontal, and that all of them. Well, we're finding out that that's not always the case.
That's right.
Certain error coins that are showing up, certain error coins that are showing up, we know have been set in the original.
Right.
So Robert Pentoff said he thought that Mike Boyer had had a tour of the Mint. And I don't know. I'll have to find out. It'd be curious to see Kaiser Soze could do it.
It doesn't do me or you any good for somebody to have had a tour unless they are writing stuff up and they're actually studying the processes and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's what not a lot of people that do it because it takes time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to be able to document that process. Like I would take the time to do that.
I got a question.
Take vacation time to go do that.
Hello. I do, right?
Oh yeah. I think that would be amazing. Go spend 1 or 2 days and just walk with people and learn.
I think it would take more than 2 days.
I got a question that would have, I mean, it's an opinion question. How come collectors and people now don't have the time to spend a lot of time working on hobbies? Back in I was into tropical fish breeding and stuff like that and coins. And I always spent a lot of time on my hobby. And the old guys did too, but I noticed that in about the 90s, people didn't have time for hobbies. So that's when all the authors in every club you join, they never have enough articles to print magazines or pamphlets or anything like that because nobody's willing to write articles now. Why is that? The days are still 24 hours long.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a fact.
I'm willing to do it.
I'm actually working on an article right now. I don't know where I'll publish it at, but I'm actually working on something that's really cool to me. It's probably not going to be too cool to too many other people.
Well, I mean, Ken finally is getting back into writing articles for Numismatic News. He got away from that for a long time.
Right, but that goes back. Ken is not a spring chicken. Ken is getting old. And when you get old, that's what I'm saying. The real old people like Bill Fiva, he still talks about coins and this and that, but I don't think he looks at coins. His eyes are bad and he's sick and he's tired. And there's a lot of other people that were icons in the hobby that are the same way. Yes, they're still interested, and yes, they try to give some input, but no, they're not dedicating the rest of their life to it because they're living the rest of their life. They're doing stuff.
Well, I think some of it is because with the advent of all the new processes, things have become less interesting to them.
And that could be too, sense? Yeah.
The extreme errors and things like that, we're not seeing anymore. The extreme double dies and things like that. There's no more RPMs. I mean, things that they specialized in have kind of gone out the window. Now we do see the occasional, cool error coin, on the which quarter was it? I don't remember which quarter it was that had the retained cut on the obverse and then the fractured die on the reverse. I can't remember which quarter it was. One of the women's quarters, but they're few and far between, which is kind of good in a way. But now the newer collectors that are coming up are kind of into the fly and the fly poop and the pepper. They're all making a big deal out of these fleas and ticks. They somebody posted that acorn clash on the dime.
Right.
Something about that acorn clash that showed up in the trade papers guide. That thing is who gives a crap? Yeah, who gives a crap?
Yeah.
But
so
they just the older guys are just Wilma Man Killer. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, a lot of it is. I think a lot of it is there's not a lot of them doing it, and I think that with the major errors and stuff, I do think that there's not as many people looking, because I mean, you look at the history of, go to Wexler's site, who the person that turned the coins that he has listed on there. A lot of those people are gone.
That's not even always.
I'm just saying.
And that's not always
there was more people.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
A lot more people doing it.
They are gone.
And that just, I just was wondering.
And I'm interested in them because, and this is the mentality that needs to come up. The older guys who have been teaching for years and years, like I said, I think that they're less interested in the new stuff that's coming up. People like myself, I don't care what it is. If there's people out there that are interested in it, I'm going to teach about it because that's the only way that this hobby is going to continue. If people are getting excited over these die stages, these die cracks and die chips that are really just die stages that the Mint doesn't care about. But if they're getting excited about it, then I'm going to teach about it.
Sure.
No, I would like to go to the Mint and find out how long they actually would let a die go. Those are things that need to be studied more. If we're going to continue teaching about these little fleas and ticks.
I think it's all of those, Frosty.
But, yeah, I don't know.
If you look at his page, he just put a questionnaire up. Why do you think people have not engaged in hobbies as much since the 90s? And his answers are lack of interest, social media, and lack of money. I think it's all of them.
Well, but which one do you think has the most influence? I know which one that I would lean on, and if you look at the two polls, I think the people.
I think social media probably has
social media. I think is the biggest influence. Now, again, their lack of interest. Yes, there are lack of interest. Look at what happened with stamps, right? That's a great example where a lot of the people who were interested in it. But why did stamps start to fall off? Stamps started to fall off because of different methods of shipping, right? We no longer were sending letters. The advent of email. The advent of email actually allowed for people to communicate without having to buy stamps, without having to go to the post office, without having to do some of that stuff, right? The Forever Stamps program was a freaking nightmare, by the way. But so there are some of these things that they still have them. You can still go to this. You can still go there and find different stamps, but people just don't go there anymore because how many people outside of some of us who send coins or thank you cards or things like that, how many of us actually go to the post office to do that anymore? Increased work. Yes, increased work. We've done a lot more with the advent of increasing time, right? There's a less focus on family, more focus on productivity. The cost of things, the value of the dollar has decreased.
And that goes to lack of money, though.
That's where the lack of money comes from. So all of these are premises, but what do you think the biggest piece of it was? And again, I put the poll up there and then we're talking about it, not to influence you towards any direction. But there's way more options here for this. But my personal one is social media. I think the advent of social media allows people to sit at home, to do what we're doing now, to just chit chat, come in, and they can meet with a bunch of people. They can talk about it. But what we used to do, and again, when I first got into this hobby,
you had to buy a book.
Or I would have to go to the coin shop.
That's right. You had to buy a book or you had to know somebody.
Yeah, or go to the coin club. And the only way for me, you talked a while ago about tropical fish. I have reefs, artificial reefs that I've created where I put coral and tropical fish, and I got a 300-gallon saltwater tank. And, we had clubs. I had people come to my house and we would go through this. And I taught people how to make faux rock and how to design faux rock and create stuff, which if I knew, 8 years ago that I would eventually have done a social media thing, I probably would have done a design, how to build these kind of things and how to put together a tank and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't do that because we have social media, so we can look up YouTube, get the information.
And you get information in real time.
Yeah, we don't actually have to go there and do this. And we don't have to sit down and pull from this. And we learned a lot of people. And, I joke when I was a younger kid because, I hung around with my grandparents' friends. They're the ones who taught me a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of stuff from my grandparents.
That's where I learned the hobbies from. They're
when you look at, vote for Pedro, the internet. Yeah, again, but all social media. It's changed over the years. But when you look at screen time, the amount of screen time, you want to see something really fun? How many of you have ever turned on your screen time analytics on your phone and actually looked at how much time you spend on YouTube, or looked at how much you spent on email, or how much time you spent browsing the web?
No way. I don't look at that kind of. I don't.
You don't like that kind of negativity in your life, right?
It's amazing because it's just you look at there was a game I used to play, and this game I had to stop because it was taking up so much time. I was spending between 8 to 10 hours a day on this game, not realizing that I was spending that much time on my phone. It was crazy. Now I spend that much time on social media generating pages and doing this, but now I'm providing education. I'm providing an educational service that is something that benefits not only me because it helps me instill information regarding my hobby and the love for this, but it also helps people to understand the various aspects and what happens. A lot of people are saying that lack of money, looking at this poll, again, I ran it on both sides. On the vertical side, most people said social media, but there's not very many people over there, so it's only 6 votes. Not a whole lot of people in chat are putting stuff in, or there's just not very many people in the stream. Either way, it's okay. But when you look at the number of votes and the number of people that are doing this, again, social media number one, and then money is another one. I think those two put together are causing things like the lack of interest. And if you want to do it, you have to work more. So if you work more, you don't have time to do that. But
I don't think our hobby is hurting, though.
No, I think there's some healthy spots in it.
I don't think our hobby is hurting.
I think the lack of money causes people not to buy high dollar coins, and that causes people to search coins because a lot of people want to find a high dollar coin.
I get it.
I want to find a high dollar coin.
But here's the thing about this.
I got my new newsletter.
Hey, Kevin, have a great day, bud. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you being here.
Nice.
So when you're looking at
Kevin.
When you're looking at our hobby not hurting, the stamp hobby changed very, very quickly. And it went from being something to the values plummeted within a year.
Yeah, there's a stamp shop, the one local coin shop. He's a stamp dealer too. When people bring stamp collections in, he pays face value for the stamps, except for 20 stamps. And he's got a list of 20 stamps. He says, if you got these 20 stamps, I'll pay you. And that's U.S. stamps. There are international stamps that are worth a lot of money and still collected internationally, just not in the United States. But yeah, he's got a list. He hands them a list and says, do you have any of these? And if they say, I think so, then he'll say, okay. He says, but everything else in here, I'm going to give you face value for because it's worth that much. A 1 cent stamp is worth 1 cent, no matter what you do. And then you see him shipping packages out, and he literally covers the box in these stamps. He just licks them and uses them.
Well, but again, our hobby is our hobby.
And if you have ever received a package from Ken Potter, that's what he uses.
He uses all the plate blocks that he's collected over the years.
All old stamps. Yep.
Because they just they didn't retain their value.
That's pretty cool.
Right? So, but here's the thing. So, are we going to have the same issue in our hobby? Well, not necessarily. Mm-hmm. But what's important to understand about this, what important you're supposed to look at, the thing that you have to keep in mind is if you don't continue the hobby, if you don't continue to grow the hobby and teach people about the hobby, if you don't teach people how not to get burned by the hobby, you're going to have people who are genuinely interested come in, get burned 1 or 2 times, and they're like, screw it. And I can tell you within industry, within whether it be advertising or whatnot, the best way to grow something is word of mouth. And the opposite is true. The best way to tear something apart is to have somebody who got burned by it go around and tell people how
That's
bad
right.
the hobby
A
is.
dissatisfied person tells
Yep.
10 times as many people as
Yep.
a satisfied person does.
And so it's really important for people to.
Well, that's my biggest problem with the.
Go ahead.
With people putting, I'm sorry, go ahead. Now, with people putting, I don't even know how to say it. When new people find things in change that they think are special because for whatever reason, somebody did something to a coin or whatever, and they find it, oftentimes when they find out that they don't have anything special, that it's not something special, they go move on to something else. They go to video games or something. It can be very disheartening for a new person.
Sure.
That's why you hear me talk. I've talked about it before, how there's a fine line that you have to walk there when you're giving somebody the bad news. I know who I can and who I like when it's not somebody new, I can just come out and tell them, just how it is. But I do walk a fine line when I'm telling new people that their coins are garbage, basically. You know what I mean? And so
I want to plug your live coin Q&A. There is a video on incused doubling that everybody should watch.
Oh, yeah. Amanda put that out. Yeah.
Yes. It's very informative, and there's not a lot
of
correct incused doubling videos out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is something extremely common that we're seeing now with the new quarters and stuff.
The new quarters, yeah.
Very common.
Well, you're the one who described incuse to me. I will never forget that conversation where it was like, you're saying everything right. You're just saying it backwards because you need to understand this one concept. And I'm like, well, it just doesn't make sense. Like, how can something be like, you can scratch it, but it looks like it's under? That doesn't make any sense.
Because an incused ejection doubled coin is exactly what a hub doubled die would look like.
That's right.
Yeah.
An incused,
yeah.
A coin with incused machine doubling or ejection doubling, whatever you want to call it, is exactly what a hub doubled die would look like.
And again, this points to something else, folks, and we've talked about this quite a bit. You can hear something on my channel and go, whatever. And then you can go to Livecoin Q&A and you can hear something on their channel and go, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. And then you can go hear something from Eric and go, oh my God, I get it. We've all said the same thing, but how presentation sometimes is done, or maybe there's just a phrase that needs to be said that all of a sudden it clicks on.
But I don't even I left a comment. I was like, that's great stuff.
So yes, she did a great job on
it. Well, again, and I've talked about, Paul and Amanda being two of the smartest ladies when it comes to this that I know. And I always will promote you too, because you guys have taught me a lot through the hobby. You guys continue to be a mentor, not only to me, but to a lot of people. And I'm not doing it to make your head big, because I don't any bigger and it might pop. But just kidding. It's because I love you guys, and I love the amount of knowledge that you have and the way you describe stuff. And I like the really dry kind of, people don't realize Amanda's funny as hell. Because she just doesn't say much, but she's funny as hell. And I like that's just a witticism, and I like your matter of fact, tell it as it is, right? And so a lot of people, you might rub people the wrong way, but folks, these are two extremely smart ladies in our community who really genuinely know what they talk about. If you look at who their mentors were, you look at the people who taught them, these are giants in the community. Like, they were very fortunate to be surrounded by some extremely brilliant people. So, take this is the hobby of kings. It's still a man dominated entity, but please understand that they're some extremely smart ladies. They know what's going on.
One of these days, he'll get through a stream without mentioning me.
Well, no, but hey, you know what? And I've said this before. You, Eric,
I actually get very uncomfortable with compliments and stuff like that.
I have the same issue. That's why I have to give them.
It's not easy for me.
Hey, what's going on, Coach?
It's not easy being me. Ask me.
Yeah, me says the same thing. Yeah,
ask me.
But I say that I don't compliment tons of people. I compliment people who do good work. You'll hear me talk about Eric and Chuck and Copper Coins and the good work that they do. Going through stuff.
You guys are up.
Right. And it's amazing to go through and go, oh my God, I've learned so much about Lincoln Sense just by watching a general chit chat. How many people who've actually wrote the book on Lincoln Sense, or how many people have actually can sit down and tell you about dye varieties without having any resources available, right? Just really can just break it down, are willing to just come up and say, hey, by the way, yeah, go ahead.
I have to go. I'm taking Vivi to that dinosaur thing today, so I got to get going. But
Ooh.
Always fun. Love you guys. I know I'm so excited.
Ask her why dinosaurs are always angry.
And why the T-Rex has deep pockets.
Yeah, because their arms are too short to reach.
Gosh, you guys. She's 3 for crying out loud. All right, you guys. Love you. And probably see you tomorrow. So
sounds good.
Have fun.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Was it something I said? But again, getting back to this, Eric and Chuck, one thing that I really appreciate about them is that, they'll just talk. Livecoin Q&A. There's a couple of people that I haven't got to deal with as much. But again, you ask a question, they'll be willing to do it. I've learned a lot about different things from different aspects of people. But there are certain people in this community who they genuinely have a desire to help people, to grow people in this hobby, to protect the information. And today's topic was about protecting you guys. I get nothing from this other than to try to help you guys be safe, to understand, to think critically, to look at the information that you see. It doesn't matter what channel, mine, Eric's, Chuck's, Paula's, Livecoin, doesn't matter where you get the information. I want you to think critically about what you're seeing. I want you to take time to really look at the stuff that's going on. I want you to really look, when you're looking for a coin, or you're looking to go buy silver or gold, or you're looking to do something. Robert Pintoff's in chat, and I know he loves to collect some amazing coins. You think that he just randomly goes through some channel and says, hey, you know what, if you have any, a gold, I don't know, French, whatever they're called. Well, I don't care what they look like. Just, send them to me. No, he knows what he's looking for, right? He goes through and he actually digs in and says, hey, this is what's happening and what's going on. And to actually, do his research and find out what's happening. We got Vote for Pedro. Vote for Pedro does things with wounded, or you see it on the screen right now, Wounded Warriors, right? You think he just randomly says, hey, anybody who might be a vet can just come up and talk about it? No, he really takes time to look at the information, sharing with people to make sure that we understand, hey, what's happening, and make sure he's protecting the agency and the organization. No chaos, no conflict. This is what it's about. There's a very specific genre that needs to occur. There's a very specific aura that needs to happen regarding this. There's a protection factor that needs to be done. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter how it works. Do your due diligence. Do your due diligence. Make sure you understand what's happening, why it's happening. Make sure you're looking at those elements. Think critically. And again, it really will benefit you in the long run. The information today was just, yeah, me's causing trouble, but that's okay. We expect nothing less from you, dude. What's important is that you guys just understand that, yes, sometimes it's fun to watch stupid AI videos. That's great. But remember, every video that you watch that is foolish plants a seed inside your mind about something that is maybe misleading. And this is what that video, that goopy song about Shenghua Zhu, right? That AI generated piece that was done from that China show. Why was that so important? Well, because people were actually taking that as real authentic information, and it caused some serious dissension. So make sure you understand what you're watching. Make sure you understand what you're looking for. If you're going to go buy a coin, know what the markers of that coin are. Take some time. If you need some help, reach out to one of us. Let us know. We can provide you some resources. If you're going to be looking at doing some coins and you want to understand a little bit about it, hey, if it happens to be pennies, guess what? And I'm going to say pennies and not cents. I just, for those people that are anal retentive, go check out Copper Coins. Go watch what they do. Ask questions. Eric and Chuck are always willing to take a few moments and describe exactly what they're looking for. If they're going too fast for you, hey, you know what? Slow down a little bit. I didn't catch what you were saying. Scooby-Doo wasn't a documentary. That's funny, Pedro. But ask questions, right? Why is this? And when you ask questions of somebody who's considered an expert, if you don't like their answer, then that's fine, but don't be disrespectful about it, right? If you ask them to tell you what an item is, or they ask you what the rarity of something is, or you ask how you can validate this is, and then you tell them that they're wrong, that's foolish of you. Don't do that, right? Be polite, be kind, because a little kindness goes a long way. I'm going to wrap up. Eric, you have anything you want to say? What did you think about today?
I liked it, and can't wait till tomorrow. I look forward to it every weekend.
Sunday Chit Chat is kind of open. Me wants me to do a little bit about the Great White Fleet. So I'll probably take a little spot about that. You know what the Great White Fleet is?
I'm not sure if I do or not.
If you guys don't know what the Great White Fleet is, go to my channel. On my channel and videos, you can enter the words Great White Fleet. You'll see a video as it ships on coins. During McKinley, he created something that didn't happen, actually happened under Teddy Roosevelt. But it was a series of ships from the U.S. that went on a world tour to actually kind of look through, a show of force, a peaceful show of force, but also to make sure they go through and look at ways to offer assistance. And actually on this tour, they were able to actually send people to support after, I believe it was an earthquake or a volcanic eruption. But great video, a lot of information. If you want to see that, maybe we can talk a little bit about that tomorrow. If anybody has any ideas or questions on whether it be coin related, whether it be silver and gold related, email me. Information is power. So if you have something that you want me to talk about or chat about tomorrow, ! Email. Send me an email. Say, hey, I'm interested in this. Maybe we can talk about that tomorrow. If it's a full-on topic, then give me some time to do some research. But we'll pull it up and we will do that. But I appreciate you as always, Eric. You guys got a reveal today?
I have one in about 2 hours.
All right. If you want, take a link from that and go ahead and throw it in chat. Oh, he hasn't even created it yet.
44p.
44p?
Yes.
Ooh, yeehaw. Yeah, earthquake in Italy. Thanks. That's what it was, me. But yeah, a lot of fun. A really great thing. If you like naval history or you just like cool coins, there's a couple cool coins regarding battleships and stuff that are shown in there. So go check that out. All right, folks. Thank you so much for being here today. My mom popped in right at the very end. Thanks for being here, Mom. Love you. Eric, thank you so much for your time and your effort as always. I hope you guys enjoy yourself, and we'll see you tomorrow. You know what?
See you tomorrow.
Go check out my commemorative coin series. If you guys like these things, please let me know. We got one coming out on Wednesday. We just finished the Pan American. Really, really cool set. If you haven't seen that, go check that one out. That one's really cool. But if you want to learn more about some really expensive coins, if you have to pay over $500,000 for 5 coins just to get the set, that's got to be something of interest. Hey, aloha. Hope you're doing well. Take care of my Hawaiian family over there. Mahalo for coming in. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you guys are here. I thank you all for the support. Love you all. Be well, be blessed, and I will see you guys in the stream. Take care.